Stacks, thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me back on, Lukie. I appreciate it as always, man.
Appreciate it. Okay, so let's get into this, man. Sebastian Fundora versus Cordell Booker. I know you've seen the rise of Sebastian Fundora. Maybe not as much of Cordell Booker. I know Booker pretty well, but
Yes.
how would you explain Fundora's rise, and what do you expect from him in this fight?
Okay, so what I've seen is a quick rise out here in Southern California of Sebastian Fundora until he was brutally knocked out by Mendoza. Then he was set, to go up against Earl Spence. That fight kind of fell through. He picked up the Zoo fight, and that's where he picked up, the WBO title. Um, and that was a tough fight. Zoo got cut in that fight. And it was a very, very tough fight for Fundora that I think could have gone either way. He's been in two real heavy fights, his last two fights. Um, and now coming in against Booker, he's going in against a 33-year-old Southpaw who only has one loss on his record. Of course, he was knocked out by Amma Williams, a few years back. But since then has won six in a row, mostly on the East Coast circuit. He's fought a lot out in Connecticut and has won six in a row and has really looked good. And I don't think this is a pushover fight for Fundora. I think that with Booker being southpaw, being very slick, being very well trained in boxing and having really good ring generalship, I think it's going to be a lot closer than what people think. People are, oh, Booker, he should be fighting this person or he should be fighting that person. The way social media is. I don't think they really have a clue who Booker is.
And let me add some context to that. So our dear friend Charles Conwell, aka Big Conwell, he got to the Olympics in 2016 by defeating Cordell Booker. So Booker's an Olympic alternate in that era. And he's a guy with a deep amateur pedigree that really his big step up fight was against Austin Amwell Williams. It was perceived a 50-50 fight. He's a notorious slow starter, gets stopped in the first round. I truly don't think we've seen the best of Booker. I think he's had a couple of performances that have been underwhelming. One was due to COVID, and then the Williams fight. But I think that there's a real chance that he beats Fundora. And I'm just going to say it how I think it. There's a chance that Fundora might be overlooking Booker because there's real big fights on the horizon for him.
Yeah, exactly. People have talked about again, Earl Spence again. People have talked about, even in matching up with some of these big names at 54. One thing that I've seen over the years covering boxing, and I'm sure you've seen it as well, Lukie, is sometimes fighters tend to fight down to the level of their opposition, or two, like you said, overlook. And if he's overlooking him and thinks he's fighting somebody at a lower, somebody that's lower opposition, he has something coming. He's in for a surprise, when he goes into the ring against Booker.
What's your expectation for this fight? Because we haven't seen Fundora in a really long time.
Yeah, two fights in 2 years. Two very hard fights. Um, I don't know if he's going to be gun shy. I don't know if he's going to want to engage. It's hard to say is what type of training he's had. Is he going to use his length? Can Booker come in? My expectations are for him to box. I think he should go in and get some rounds and try to add more of boxing to his game. He likes to get inside. He's a banger. He's got, for being as big as in that division, he's still that stereotypical Mexican style fighter that wants to come forward and wants to bang. And I don't know if that's the best thing for him. I would like to see him be honestly a little bit more boring, be a little bit more defensive, use that lane, be technical, and not get in there and bang. And if he does, I think he's like you said, man. I think he's in for a long night.
Weird media call for this fight. Felt like a lot of people didn't know who Booker was. So there was like a lot of questions like, hey, who are you? And for Fundora, it seems like his sister is kind of overshadowing him in a weird way. There were a lot of questions about his sister, which kind of caught me off guard because I know they're brother and sister, but I kind of think of them as different individuals. I don't always put them together. I'm not sure if you do or if that's just
No,
me.
no, I mean, Sebastian's his own person. Totally different promotion company. You have Gabriella, who's with Golden Boy, of course. You know, um, Sebastian, who's with PBC, and I just think to the fact that a lot of these media people aren't real media people, and people can hate me for saying that. I've said it in the past, but just because you can hop onto a press conference or just because you're running around with a camera and you're getting clicks, man, that doesn't make you media. You got to break it down. What she did in her accomplishments of becoming Ring Magazine Female Fighter of the Year should not outweigh what Sebastian is doing, or what he has done in his career. Sebastian's his own person. He's got his own fight. And I think media needs to look at what's going on and take a deep dive into him and his opponent instead of, bringing up something they know because it's in the spotlight with Turkey, during those Ring Magazine Awards.
What is your thought of this fight? What's your guess that's going to happen?
I think Fundora should beat Booker. He should. He should go in there. He should box for a while, start going to the body, eventually breaking Booker down and maybe getting a late round stoppage. But I don't know if he's going to do that. I don't know if he's going to box. I don't know how defensive he's going to be. And is he going to want to get in there and bang? I just don't know what type of Fundora we're going to see, come fight night. And I would hope that he boxes, he breaks him down, he goes to the body, and then stops him late. That's what I would say should happen. Whether it does or not, like I said, the inactivity of Fundora really makes it hard, to say what's going to happen, especially because Booker has been so active. Even though he's fighting on a local East Coast circuit, he's been active. He's been in that ring, and activity makes a difference. I don't care how much you're sparring. I don't care how much you're in the gym. If you're not active in the ring rust is a real thing, and it could very well affect Sebastian.
I want to